Ben Callahan frowned at the bone china cup on the sterling silver tray in front of him. Unable to fit one of his large fingers through the handle, he tried instead to hold the delicate cup with his whole hand. He'd have chucked the idea of attempting to grasp the cup if not for his elderly hostess. Emma Montgomery had declared it was tea time, and from what Ben had seen, he wouldn't be getting any information out of her until he'd shared in her daily ritual. He'd never understand the wealthy, nor did he care to try. He'd had a good deal of experience, none of it leaving a positive impression. His mother had scrubbed floors for a living, and he'd seen firsthand how poorly the help was treated. He'd whisked his mother away from menial labor and verbal abuse as soon as he was old enough to support them both. It was ironic, really. Most of the clients he'd accumulated as a private investigator had money to burn. Ben didn't mind taking their cash. It paid not only his bills, but the extra money covered the cost of the independent living community where he'd placed his mother. He considered it payback for her years of service. The elderly woman seated across from him was a potential client. She'd been referred to him by an acquaintance in her social set, one he remembered from the time he'd worked for her last year. So far, Emma Montgomery, his hostess, had been refreshing, both charming and persistent at the same time. While other clients tried to whittle away at his expenses and final take, despite their ability to afford his reasonable fee, Emma Montgomery had paid his airfare and expenses from New York City to Hampshire, Massachusetts, to discuss her reasons for wanting to hire him. As further enticement, she'd named a hefty sum he'd never seen before on a single case and promised him free rein with expenses, no questions asked, all before she'd explained why she needed his services. Ben was not only intrigued, but inclined to accept. The money she'd promised would enable him to have his mother moved from independent living to assisted care. With her eyesight rapidly deteriorating, she couldn't live alone, and this case might make the upgraded care possible. If it meant putting up with idiosyncrasies like tea time, he'd force himself to endure. He met his hostess's gaze. Piercing brown eyes regarded him from over the rim of her cup. "I'm waiting," she seemed to be saying. There was nothing he could do but raise the cup and take a sip. The minute the hot liquid passed his lips, she said, "My granddaughter needs a sitter. Do you have any interest in the job?" He swallowed fast, burning his tongue and nearly losing his precarious hold on the fine china. No way, he'd heard her correctly. She was offering all that good money for him to play babysitter? He shook his head. "Excuse me?" "Perhaps I didn't phrase that quite right. I think maybe keeper is the correct word."